2 words, and that's chicken chow mein. So easy, so simple, and today we are going to be showing you how to do it, aren't we, Ma?
Yeah, and it's so delicious.
Very delicious. Probably one of the only things on a Chinese takeaway menu that is very close to something traditional Chinese, I'd say.
Yeah.
Also, if you'd like to see more traditional Chinese food, you need to comment below. We need to know that's what you guys want to watch. Which is completely different from anything you know. I'm just warning you.
Yes, you've been warned.
Yeah. So, we have been given these today by Lucky Boat themselves. We haven't been paid anything for this, we've just been given these. And obviously we always say good takeaways are going to be using Lucky Boat noodles because they are, in our opinion, the best brand you can get. These are available now.
Yeah, at our web store.
No, they're not on our web store yet.
Oh.
They will be soon. Anyway, I've not actually looked in these. So we thought we'd do a bit of an opening as well as a cooking.
Yeah, opening.
So where's the cooking? Oh. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. 1, 2, 4 blocks. That's actually good going. That's nice.
Yeah, 4 blocks.
Yeah. They seem, I don't know if they seem smaller. It was just in my head. I don't think they are. I think that's in my head.
No, they're the same.
Yeah, they're the
yeah,
same size,
same.
aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just our ones normally come flatter.
Yeah.
I think it's the same weight. They feel
Yes.
the same weight. So, we have done a chow mein video before, haven't we, Ma? We've done
Yeah,
many.
we have. We have done quite a few now.
But in previous times, people had a lot of questions, so we hope to do what we did with the fried rice and give you more information. So hopefully this time, this will be more of a thorough video. When this water is up to a rolling boil, we're going to take 1 block of noodles and we're going to place them into the pan. Now these actually come in 2 different sizes. You've got thin and you've got thick, which is what we're using today as we would know them though. These would be number 1s and the thin ones are number 2s. And we're going to place these into the boiling water for 3.5 to 4 minutes. Take them out, rinse them under cold water and let them drain for about 20 minutes. A couple of people always say, why do my noodles stick to my wok? What's one reason, Ma?
One reason is overboil and not run under the water for long enough.
So essentially, you've overcooked them. If you overcook them, they tend to go really stodgy and gloopy. One of the reasons why we rinse them under cold water is stop the cooking process and also to take off any extra starch. So Ma, why do we drain them?
Oh, to drain them to let it dry out.
So when you use your noodles straight away into a hot pan, sometimes, not every time, but sometimes they will continue to cook even more and the wet layer on the outside of the noodle will make it go sticky and stodgy as well. And again, makes it hard for your vegetables and your meat and stuff to combine into the dish. Also, if your noodles are sticking to the wok, there could be 2 more reasons. One is what, Ma?
It's not enough oil.
Yeah, so when you do chow mein, you actually need quite a bit of oil. Another reason is
The wok is not seasoned.
yeah, so in our case, it doesn't matter because we're using non-stick, but if you're using a carbon steel wok at home, you might need to season it another time. If you want a seasoning video, you need to comment below and we'll show you how to do that. But in our opinion, you don't need to use carbon steel at home. We only use them in a commercial kitchen because the temperature is so high, the non-stick can't keep up with it. It will literally just incinerate away. At home, non-stick is perfectly good. The most this will get up to is 3 kilowatts. Our wok burners in a takeaway will be 45 kilowatts. There's a massive disparity in power. By all means, you can use a wok at home, carbon steel wok. Fantastic, that's fine. It's just, it's not needed to get the actual flavors. It's very easy to do in a non-stick. And the third reason why your noodles are probably sticking is because you're using a non-stick and the non-stick layer has now come off. So you need a new wok. And that's about it, really.
Yeah, but we cover in all aspects.
Okay, so Mum's gonna prep the onion by just obviously always taking the root off and then the head off as well. And we're just gonna use half of this, so we're gonna cut it in half. We're gonna remove the skin. So we're gonna cut it along those ridges there, and it's sheerly for aesthetic reasons. When you cut it this way, you get those bumpy rainbows, I call them bumpy rainbows. When you cut it this way, you get nice long slithers. So it's with the grain this time, so against the grain.
Yep.
Is how you get the bumpy stuff. With the grain is how you get the nice long slivers. So, Mum, could you please demonstrate to the lovely people at home?
Yeah, are we wanting it thin slice?
Yes, thin slices, please. And there we go. So for the recipe in our first cookbook, we don't actually cook with the spring onions or even use them as garnish, because most takeaways that we've been working in or have gone to actually very rarely use the spring onions. I'd say only about 30%, which is still quite high, but it's not the average. So we're going to be using spring onions today, but for the most likely takeaway recipe you'll get, that recipe is going to be in our first cookbook. So Mum's just going to take the ends of the
spring onion
or scallions. Someone the other day said, you're only saying them as spring onions to be pretentious. I'm just like, that's what we call them.
Yes, in England we call it spring onion. I think in other part they call it scallion.
Scallions or green onions.
Yeah. Button, yeah.
Yeah, battens please. And then we want to go and cut these a little bit in half so you get more. If you want to cut them into chunks, discs, by all means please do. So now we're going to velvet some chicken. Most takeaways aren't going to be doing this, are they, Ma?
No.
They're either going to buy pre-steamed or they're going to be poaching their chicken. But I'd say 90% of them are going to be buying in pre-steamed nowadays. Velveting is something that was done a long time ago. The reason why it's not so highly used nowadays is because it's actually quite difficult to get it right. Like this will want to stick really heavily.
Honestly, they do.
We still velvet, but most places won't, because when it sticks, that's your wok done until you can get it washed and re-seasoned.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You're going to slice it?
Yeah, slice it up. We're going across the grain if you can. It's not a massive deal when you're dealing with chicken. It does help the texture. But obviously, because we're going to be velveting this, the chemical processes we're going to be using will help tender the chicken much more than cutting with or against the grain, I should say.
If you think it's a bit too big, you can cut it into half, yeah? You know what? That onion is so strong, it's making me cry. Cry! I'm going to take that away, I'm going to wash my hand.
Yes, we just won't show it on camera. So we actually do plan to do a standalone velveting video where we'll show you how to velvet all the different kind of meats and the different types of velveting processes, because there isn't just one. There's some where you wash it off, there's some that you don't wash it off, there's some that you pre-boil it and then velvet it. There's a whole load of different ways of doing it, and we want to cover that in one video. So if that's something you would like to see, make sure you comment below. I'm gonna put in, what's this, Ma?
Salt.
Yep.
MSG. Garlic powder. Potato starch. And pinch of bicarb.
So this is what gives the meat its tenderness when it's cooked. It essentially stops the meat from going tough under high heat.
Some light oil.
Yeah.
A splash of oil.
Veg oil this. You can use, and this is the one time I say you can use sesame oil, is when you're velveting or marinating. It's just takeaways normally aren't, because sesame oil doesn't go with everything on a Chinese takeaway menu. And I know people out there will argue with me saying it does, but it's essentially, for most people, it doesn't. I know some of you it will do, and that's absolutely fantastic, but for most it doesn't, and it does clash with a lot of, I say a lot, but many of the Chinese dishes anyway.
The flavour.
That's it, the flavour.
They use the chicken for the curry. It's not going to
exactly.
be very good in the curry, is it, the sesame oil?
No, but I mean, if you like that, that's absolutely fine. We're just here to tell you what takeaways are doing, and most of them aren't going to be putting sesame oil in as a base of anything. It's going to be garnished with later on, if anything. So we're just going to mix this up. You want to mix it up well, and we're going to leave this in the fridge for how long, Ma?
About a half hour?
Yeah, or 20 minutes will do it. You can use it straight away, it's just not as good. Overnight for best results, and that's just for flavour. We've used very little bicarb in this, so we don't have to wash it off. So we're going to put some veg oil into the wok. You need, like I said, quite a bit. We're going to let this get hot. Now we're not going to be putting garlic in this, because most takeaways aren't going to be putting garlic in it. But if we did, it would be fresh and it would be nearer the end, because then the heat of the noodles will cook the garlic through while you're passing it over the base of the wok, because you always use a high temperature, or as high as you can get, because if you put it in before with the vegetables, it's going to have that bitter taste, which a lot of people say my chow mein doesn't taste right because it has a slight bitter taste to it. It's probably because you've put the garlic in too early and it's burnt. So we're going to put the chicken in.
Got the chicken.
So if you're using a non-stick wok, when that chicken goes in, you have to let it sit straight away. Don't mess about pushing it about. You want to let it sit and let a seal be created underneath. Otherwise it will stick. And like I said before, when it sticks, everything's going to stick from that point on.
You can see the chicken is still. You can
Seared.
move it about.
Yeah. So when you're using non-stick at home, letting it sit isn't an issue. You're only letting it sit to gain some colour on the outside. But if you're using a non-stick wok, it's good practice to let it sit for about 10-15 seconds each time before stirring.
Yeah.
I'm going to add in
Onion.
Yeah. Stir those off for about 10 seconds. Then I'm going to add some salt and some MSG. Big up the MSG massive, by the way. And some people say that their MSG goes clumpy. Normally that's because you've added it directly to the oil and it's sort of melted into little crystals. You can get away with making those go away when you add the soy sauce later to redistribute them into the liquid. But if you make sure that you pour it on your actual ingredients, that won't be an issue. So we're just going to brown off the MSG a little bit now. And you know when it's brown because it will smell like that takeaway when you were walking by it. You know that just wonderful deep rich smell that makes you hungry? That's the smell of the browning MSG. We're going to throw in our noodles. And this is really important. Another reason why they stick is because people move them about too much. You want to let them sit and get that nice char on the bottom.
You should put a no disturb sign on.
Yeah. Well, disturb every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's how you get a lot of that wok hay flavour. A lot of people say you need gas, but that's just something that means that they don't understand the chemical processes that are happening. It's just the intense heat that you need. So it's much harder to replicate on an electric cooker that's like halogen, but it's possible. It just takes much longer. It's about letting it sit, letting that oil vaporise and letting the ingredients in the pan caramelise. That rhymed in a rap. That was pretty good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I'm going to add a touch more salt and MSG. And it is really just a little bit, because we season little and often rather than lots at one time. Now we're going to add some light soy.
Light soil and some dark soil.
Yeah. And we're going to cook this until that liquid has all vaporized off the soy sauce. This process will also help you get that really deep, rich caramelization flavor that you get from a takeaway. Some people will say add sugar. You can add sugar, but if you're using a good quality soy sauce, you don't need to. So if you can see there, that's what you're looking for, that caramelization of the noodles. Then we're going to add our bean sprouts and our spring onions last, because we just want to get some heat through those.
Yeah.
And the reason why we add the bean sprouts last, Mum, is why?
It retains its colour and it doesn't go overcooked.
Yeah. So you still get them nice and hot, and they stay crunchy and vibrant and delicious for the eyeballs. Not that you eat with your eyes, but you know what I mean. And that's it. We're going to dish out now.
Not going to I'll go put it down.
Yeah, go on, just eat it. Go on. Brilliant. You don't need garlic, ginger. Sometimes less is more. But don't get me wrong, it's delicious. Like, often I'll whack loads of different herbs and spices into a chow mein. It just depends what I feel like on a day. We always liken it to, like, say, a bacon sandwich, for example.
Yeah.
Sometimes just butter's nice. Sometimes you want maybe whack a burger in that with some ketchup on.
I would definitely have chili.
Yeah. Really good.
Dun, 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 dun.
And I can confirm that the new Lucky Boat noodles are in fact the same ones in the big boxes we get.
Well, I think one block per person, more like it. Not unless you are really, really tiny eater. One block, I don't think, for 2 person.
Yeah, I think if I was going to make this chow mein,
Or maybe not unless you have other thing to go with, but it just normally you just have this one, isn't it?
yeah, I would
block.
I would say if you're making a chow mein, 1 block per person.
Yeah.
If it's, let's say, soft noodles and you're going to have a main dish, I'd say 1 block for 2 people.
Yeah.
It's just that says 8 portions in the box, but for me I'd say 4 portions, but depends how big of an eater you are, really.
At the end of the day, you have how many blocks you want.
Exactly.
The chicken is really tasty.
Velvet chicken's always far superior though, isn't it?
Yeah, can look at that.
So there we have it. If you'd like to support the page, the channel, make sure you hit that like button. It's the best way to let the algorithm know that you like our content, and it's absolutely free. It costs you nothing. Also, commenting helps a load as well. So if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. If not, no worries, just stick around for the content because we love having you here anyway. Don't we, Mum?
Thank you very much. Happy cooking, happy eating.